The house was too quiet. Simone stood in the doorway of her own living room, luggage still in her hand, staring at the scene before her. A woman she had never met sat on her couch wearing one of her robes. The woman's overnight bag sat on the floor. Wine glasses rested on the coffee table. Her husband Trevor stood near the fireplace in his casual clothes, looking annoyed at the interruption. "Who is this?" Simone asked, her voice leveled despite the pounding of her heart. The woman looked uncomfortable and started to stand. Trevor held up his hand. "Simone, you're home early," Trevor said with no trace of guilt or surprise. "I asked who this is." Simone set down her luggage. "This is Brittany. My ex-girlfriend. She's visiting from out of town." Simone looked at the overnight bag. The wine. The bathrobe. "Visiting?" "Yes, visiting. She needed a place to stay." The woman, Brittany, finally stood. "I should go." "No," Trevor said firmly. "You don't need to go anywhere." Simone felt something cold settle in her chest. "Trevor, this woman needs to leave our home. Now." Trevor turned to face her fully, and his expression made her blood run cold. "You can't stop my ex from coming to visit me. You are a slave to your own rules and expectations. This is my house too. She stays." The words hit Simone like a physical blow. Slave. He had called her a slave. In her own home. Because she dared to question why another woman was wearing her bathrobe and drinking wine in her living room while her husband defended her right to be there. Brittany grabbed her bag quickly. "Trevor, I really should leave." "Fine," Trevor snapped. "If you're going to be dramatic about it." He walked Brittany to the door without another glance at Simone. Simone stood frozen in her living room, hearing their whispered conversation at the door. She heard Trevor tell Brittany, "I'll call you tomorrow." She heard the door close. She heard Trevor's footsteps coming back. Was that really necessary? Trevor asked, walking past her toward the kitchen. "You embarrassed me." "I embarrassed you?" Simone followed him. "There is a strange woman in my house wearing my clothes and I embarrassed you?" "She was wearing a bathrobe because she took a shower. She's been traveling. And she's not a strange woman. She's someone I've known for years." "Then why have I never met her? Why don't I know about her visiting?" Trevor opened the refrigerator and pulled out a beer. "Because you're never here. You're always traveling for work, always busy with meetings. I get lonely. Is it so wrong to have a friend over?" Simone watched him drink his beer like this was a normal conversation. Like he had not just called her a slave. Like there was not another woman scent lingering in their home. "How many times has she been here?" Simone asked quietly. "I don't keep count." "How many times, Trevor?" "A few. Maybe more than a few." "What does it matter?" Nothing happened. But something had happened. Even if it was not physical, something had happened. Trevor had invited another woman into their home repeatedly. He had given her access to their private space. He had defended her right to be there over his own wife's comfort. And he had called Simone a slave for objecting. Simone walked to the bedroom and closed the door. She sat on the edge of the bed and tried to think clearly. Her hands were shaking. Her mind was racing. She pulled out her phone and looked at her calendar. She had been traveling a lot for work. 3 times this month alone. How many times had Trevor entertained Brittany while she was gone? She opened her laptop and logged into their home security system. They had cameras at the front and back doors for safety. She scrolled through the footage from the past month, her heart sinking with each discovery. Brittany had been there 7 times in the past 4 weeks. She arrived after Simone left for trips and left before Simone returned home. The timestamps showed she often stayed overnight. One video showed Trevor greeting her at the door with a long embrace. Another showed them leaving together in the morning, Trevor's arm around her waist. Simone felt sick. This was not a friend visiting. This was not an ex-girlfriend passing through town. This was an affair. A calculated, ongoing affair that Trevor had been conducting in their home while she worked to build their future. She looked around the bedroom. How many times had Brittany been in here? Had she slept in this bed? Worn Simone's clothes? Used her bathroom? The betrayal cut deep, but what hurt more was Trevor's attitude. His complete lack of remorse. His insistence that he had done nothing wrong. His casual cruelty in calling her a slave for wanting basic respect in her own home. Simone closed her laptop and took a deep breath. She could cry later. Right now she needed to think. She needed to plan. Because one thing had become crystal clear in the past hour. This marriage was over. But Simone was not going to leave quietly. She was not going to walk away and let Trevor continue his life without consequences. She had spent 6 years building a life with this man. 6 years supporting his career, maintaining their home, believing in their future together. And he had thrown it away for secret visits with another woman while calling her a slave. No. Simone was going to do this right. She was going to protect herself. And she was going to make sure Trevor understood that you cannot treat someone this way without consequences. She opened her laptop again and began downloading every security video from the past 6 months. She logged into their bank accounts and started taking screenshots. She pulled out the file folder with their important documents and began photographing everything. Trevor knocked on the door. "Are you going to stay in there all night?" "I'm going to bed," Simone called back. "I have an early meeting tomorrow." She heard him walk away, muttering something about her being dramatic. Simone continued working through the night. By morning she had copies of everything. Security footage, bank statements, credit card bills, tax returns, loan documents, insurance policies, everything that showed the life they had built and everything that would show what Trevor had done to destroy it. She also noticed something else. Financial irregularities she had never seen before. Large transfers she did not recognize. Payments to accounts she did not know existed. Trevor had been moving money around in ways that did not make sense. Simone added those documents to her growing file. She did not know what they meant yet, but she was going to find out. When Trevor left for work in the morning, Simone was already dressed and ready. She gave him a normal kiss on the cheek. She told him to have a good day. She acted like nothing had changed. But everything had changed. As soon as his car pulled out of the driveway, Simone made a phone call. "Patricia Holbrook's office, how may I help you?" "I need to schedule a consultation with Miss Holbrook," Simone said calmly. "It's regarding a divorce case with possible fraud complications." Simone maintained perfect normalcy for 3 days while she gathered information. She cooked Trevor's favorite meals. She asked about his day at work. She smiled and acted like the dutiful wife he expected her to be. But every moment he was out of the house, she was working. She went through every drawer, every file cabinet, every hidden corner of their home. She accessed every account, every statement, every piece of paper that might tell her the truth about what her husband had been doing. What she found made the affair seem almost secondary. Trevor had been lying about more than just Brittany. Simone discovered a credit card she never knew existed with $40,000 charged to it. The billing address was a P.O. box she had never heard of. The purchases included jewelry, designer handbags, weekend trips to expensive hotels, and high-end restaurant bills. None of those purchases had been for her. She found statements showing regular transfers from their joint savings account to a personal account in Trevor's name only. Over the past 2 years, he had moved more than $70,000 out of their joint savings without her knowledge. She found loan documents with her signature on them. Except it was not her signature. Someone had forged her name on applications for personal loans totaling $90,000. The loans had been approved using their home as collateral. Simone sat at the kitchen table staring at the forged signature. Was good. Someone had practiced her handwriting and replicated it well enough to fool bank officers. But it was not her signature. She had never seen these documents before. She had never agreed to these loans. Trevor had committed fraud using her identity. The realization made her hands shake. This was not just about an affair anymore. This was criminal. If these loans defaulted, she could be held responsible. Her credit could be destroyed. She could lose everything she had worked for. She called Patricia Holbrook's office again and moved her appointment to the next available slot. She could not wait. This was urgent. That evening, Trevor came home in a good mood. He kissed her cheek and talked about his day. He mentioned his boss was impressed with a project he had completed. He asked what was for dinner. Simone served the meal she had prepared and watched him eat while her mind raced with questions. How long had he been stealing from their accounts? What had he done with all that money? Was Brittany the only affair or were there others? "You're quiet tonight," Trevor said, reaching for more food. "Just tired," Simone replied. "Work has been demanding. Maybe you should ask for some time off. You look stressed." The irony of his concern almost made her laugh. He was worried she looked stressed while he was systematically destroying their financial stability and having an affair. "Maybe I will," she said with a smile. After dinner, Trevor settled in to watch television. Simone excused herself to their home office, claiming she needed to catch up on emails. Instead, she continued her investigation. She found more evidence of the affair buried in old phone records. Text messages Trevor thought he had deleted but that still appeared on their phone account history. Hundreds of messages to Brittany's number over the past 18 months. Sometimes 20 or 30 messages a day. She found hotel charges on the secret credit card. The same hotels. The same dates she had been traveling for work. Trevor had been checking into hotels with Brittany while Simone was away on business trips that supported their household. She found more financial irregularities. Money missing from accounts. Transfers to unfamiliar places. Credit cards maxed out and then paid off with transfers from their savings. Trevor was moving money in circles, taking from one account to pay another, creating a shell game of finances that kept the truth hidden. Simone created a detailed spreadsheet tracking every suspicious transaction. She noted dates, amounts, accounts, and possible purposes. The pattern became clear. Trevor had been funding an entirely separate lifestyle with Brittany using money stolen from their joint accounts. She also discovered something else. Emails between Trevor and his colleague about creative accounting at work. References to moving client funds temporarily. Jokes about borrowing money from project budgets. The emails were vague enough to have plausible deniability, but clear enough to suggest Trevor was doing something wrong at his job too. Simone downloaded everything. She saved it to 3 different secure cloud accounts under passwords Trevor would never guess. She made physical copies and stored them in a safety deposit box at a bank across town that Trevor did not know about. By the end of the week, she had built a complete picture of Trevor's deception. The affair with Brittany. The forged signatures on loan documents. The stolen money from their accounts. The suspicious activity at his workplace. Every piece of evidence carefully documented and secured. Her appointment with Patricia Holbrook was scheduled for Monday morning. Simone had taken the day off work, telling Trevor she had a conference to attend. Instead, she would be sitting in a lawyer's office deciding the next steps to protect herself and ensure Trevor faced consequences for his actions. On Sunday night, Brittany called Trevor's phone. Simone saw the name flash on the screen before Trevor grabbed it and stepped outside to take the call. He stayed out there for 20 minutes, his voice low and intimate through the closed door. When he came back inside, he was smiling. "Everything okay?" Simone asked. "Fine. Just a work thing." Another lie. So easy. So automatic. Simone smiled back. "Good. I'm glad work is going well for you." That night, lying in bed next to her husband, Simone felt nothing. No sadness. No anger. No regret. She felt focused. Clear. Determined. Trevor had made his choices. He had decided their marriage meant nothing. He had decided she was a slave who should accept whatever treatment he gave her. He had decided to steal from her, forge her signature, and risk her financial future for his selfish pleasures. Now Simone was going to make her own choices. She was going to protect herself. She was going to expose every lie. She was going to ensure he faced every consequence he deserved. And she was going to walk away from this marriage stronger, wiser, and completely free of the man who had betrayed her in every possible way. Trevor started snoring beside her. Simone got up quietly and went to the office. She had a few more things to document before her meeting tomorrow. She pulled up their joint credit card account and noticed a new charge. A jewelry store purchase from yesterday. $1,500. Simone checked the date. Yesterday was Saturday. Trevor had told her he was playing golf with friends. But the jewelry store purchase was made at 2 in the afternoon across town, nowhere near the golf course. She smiled grimly and added it to her spreadsheet. Another lie. Another piece of evidence. Trevor was making this easy for her. Every time he thought he was getting away with something, he was actually handing her more ammunition. Every secret purchase, every hidden message, every forged signature was another nail in the coffin of their marriage and his future. Simone saved her work and went back to bed. Tomorrow everything would change. Tomorrow she would take the first real step toward freedom. Patricia Holbrook's office was on the 20th floor of a downtown building with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Simone sat in the elegant waiting room, her organized folders on her lap, feeling calmer than she had in days. When Patricia called her back, Simone was struck by the attorney's commanding presence. Patricia was in her 50s, with silver hair cut in a sharp bob and intelligent eyes that missed nothing. "Tell me everything," Patricia said once they were settled in her office. Simone did. She walked Patricia through the discovery of Brittany, Trevor's shocking words, the evidence of the ongoing affair. Then she showed Patricia the financial documents. Patricia's expression grew more serious as she reviewed the bank statements, loan applications, and forged signatures. "This is identity theft and fraud," Patricia said finally. "These are criminal matters, not just divorce issues." "I know. What do I do?" Patricia leaned back in her chair. "First, we protect you. Second, we document everything thoroughly. Third, we file for divorce with evidence of fraud. Fourth, we report the identity theft to the proper authorities. And fifth, We make sure you are completely separated from any liability for his criminal activity. Can he go to prison for this? Possibly. The forged signatures alone are serious. If there is embezzlement from his workplace involved, which these emails suggest, he is facing multiple felonies. Simone felt a moment of pause. Prison was serious. But then she remembered Trevor's words. You are a slave. She remembered the forged signatures, the stolen money, the calculated betrayal. What do I need to do? She asked. Patricia spent the next 2 hours walking Simone through the process. They would file police reports about the identity theft. They would notify the loan companies that the signatures were forged. They would secure all of Simone's assets separately. They would file for divorce citing fraud and infidelity. I want you to meet with a forensic accountant, Patricia said. We need to trace every dollar and understand the full extent of what your husband has done. I know someone excellent. His name is Jerome Foster. Can you meet with him this week? Yes. The sooner the better. Patricia made the call while Simone waited. Jerome had an opening tomorrow afternoon. Simone agreed immediately. One more thing, Patricia said. Do not confront your husband yet. Do not tell him you have spoken to attorneys. Do not change your behavior at home. We need time to get everything in order before he knows what is coming. How long? 2 weeks. Maybe 3. I want every document filed, every protection in place, every piece of evidence secured before he has any idea what you are doing. Simone nodded. She could do that. She had been pretending for a week already. She could pretend for a few more. That evening, she came home to find Trevor in a bad mood. He barely acknowledged her greeting. Everything okay? She asked. Work is frustrating. My boss is questioning some of my expense reports, acting like I am trying to steal from the company. Simone's heart rate increased, but she kept her voice neutral. That sounds stressful. It's insulting. I have been with this company for 8 years. But he is suddenly treating me like a criminal. Maybe because you are one, Simone thought. But she said, I'm sure it will work out. You are good at your job. Trevor seemed mollified by her support. He relaxed slightly. Yeah, it will blow over. He is just being cautious because of some new auditing procedures. New auditing procedures. That meant Trevor's company was looking at their finances more carefully. That meant they might find whatever Trevor had been doing. That meant his time was running out faster than he realized. Simone made dinner and listened to Trevor complain about his boss, his co-workers, and the unfair scrutiny he was under. She made sympathetic sounds while mentally calculating how much longer before everything exploded. The next afternoon she met with Jerome Foster at his office. Jerome was a tall man in his 40s with a warm smile that put her immediately at ease. Patricia told me a little about your situation, Jerome said. I'm going to need access to all your financial records. Bank statements, credit cards, loan documents, tax returns. Everything you can provide. Simone handed him the flash drive with everything she had gathered. It's all here. Jerome spent an hour going through the documents while Simone waited. His expression grew progressively more concerned. This is extensive, he said finally. Your husband has been moving money systematically for at least 3 years. He has created a complex web of transfers designed to hide what he is doing. But I can untangle it. How bad is it? In terms of money he has stolen from your joint accounts? Probably over $150,000. In terms of fraudulent loans taken in your name? $90,000. In terms of suspicious activity related to his work? I would need access to his company records, but based on these emails, I would estimate he has been moving significant amounts of client funds. Simone felt dizzy. $150,000. Money she had earned, saved, and trusted Trevor to manage jointly. Money that was supposed to be their future. Their retirement. Their security. Gone. Can I get any of it back? In the divorce, absolutely. Patricia will make sure you get compensated for his theft from marital assets. The fraudulent loans are trickier, but we can fight those since you never signed them. The company embezzlement is not your concern, though it will be his very serious problem. Jerome continued analyzing the documents. He traced money from their joint accounts to Trevor's private account, then to various purchases and transfers. He found patterns in the dates and amounts that suggested careful planning rather than impulsive spending. Your husband is not stupid, Jerome said. This is sophisticated financial manipulation. He knew what he was doing. He planned it carefully. He tried to cover his tracks. But you found it. I found it because I know what to look for. The average person would not notice these patterns. He was counting on you trusting him and never investigating. He was right to count on that until recently, Simone said bitterly. I trusted him completely. That is not a failing on your part, Jerome said gently. That is normal in a marriage. He is the one who violated that trust. Jerome spent another hour building a comprehensive analysis of Trevor's financial crimes. He created detailed reports showing every suspicious transaction, every forged signature, every stolen dollar. The reports were damning. I will send these to Patricia, Jerome said. This gives her everything she needs for your divorce case. I will also prepare reports for the police regarding the identity theft and for Trevor's employer regarding the embezzlement. His employer? Patricia will advise you on this, but yes. If he is stealing from his company, they need to know. It protects you legally and ensures he faces consequences for his actions. Simone left Jerome's office with copies of all his reports. The evidence was overwhelming. Trevor had not just been having an affair. He had been systematically defrauding her, the loan companies, and his employer for years. He had built an entire secret financial life on lies and theft. That night, Trevor came home late. He said he had been working on a project at the office. Simone pretended to believe him. She served him dinner and listened to him talk about his day. She looked at him and wondered how she had missed it. How had she not seen that the man she married was capable of this level of deception? But then she realized she had not missed it. She had trusted him. That was normal. That was what you did in a marriage. Trevor was the one who had broken that trust in every possible way. And soon, very soon, he was going to learn that actions have consequences. Patricia called 3 days after Simone's meeting with Jerome. We need to meet. Jerome's findings have raised some additional concerns. Simone arranged another day off and met Patricia at her office. This time, Jerome was there too, along with another man Patricia introduced as Detective Marcus Chin from the Financial Crimes Division. I want to be clear, Patricia began. You are not in any trouble, Simone. But Trevor's actions have crossed from civil matters into criminal territory. Detective Chin is here to discuss the investigation into your husband's activities. Detective Chin was professional and thorough. He walked Simone through the process of filing formal complaints about the identity theft and forged signatures. He explained that the district attorney's office would review Jerome's findings regarding possible embezzlement. Your cooperation is voluntary, Detective Chin said. But I encourage you to file these reports. What your husband has done is serious. The forged signatures alone constitute multiple felonies. Simone filed the reports. She provided copies of everything she had gathered. She answered every question honestly and completely. When Detective Chin left, Patricia brought in another colleague. This is Harrison Webb. He specializes in business development and consulting. I asked him to meet with you because Jerome mentioned you have been considering starting your own consulting firm. Simone had told Jerome that during one of their conversations. It had been a dream of hers for years. She had the expertise, the connections, and the experience. She had just never had the confidence or the push to actually do it. Now seems like the perfect time, Patricia said. You will need to support yourself through this divorce. You will want to separate your professional life from Trevor's completely. And you have mentioned you have been unhappy in your current position. Harrison was energetic and encouraging. I have looked at your professional background. You have an impressive resume. Your expertise in project management and business strategy is exactly what many companies need. I think you could build a very successful consulting practice. I would not know where to start, Simone admitted. That is what I am here for. I help people launch consulting businesses. I can guide you through business structure, client acquisition, pricing, contracts, everything you need. They spent 2 hours discussing possibilities. Harrison laid out a roadmap for launching Crawford Consulting Solutions. He had already drafted a preliminary business plan based on Simone's experience and the current market needs. You could start taking clients within a month, Harrison said. I have contacts at several companies looking for exactly your expertise. I can make introductions. Simone felt a spark of excitement for the first time in weeks. Starting her own business. Being her own boss. Building something that belonged entirely to her. No more office politics. No more working to support a household where half the money was being stolen. No more building a future with someone who saw her as a slave. Let's do it, she said. Over the next week, Simone worked with Harrison to establish her business. They created the legal structure. They developed marketing materials. They identified potential clients. Harrison made introductions to 3 companies immediately interested in her services. Meanwhile, Patricia continued preparing the divorce documents. She worked with Jerome to ensure every piece of financial evidence was properly documented and filed. She coordinated with Detective Chen regarding the criminal complaints. "We are almost ready," Patricia told Simone. "Another week and we will have everything in place." Simone continued her double life at home. She cooked for Trevor. She smiled at his stories. She pretended everything was normal. But she was also working late into the night on business plans and client proposals. She was building her escape route while Trevor remained completely unaware. Trevor's mood at home was increasingly volatile. His boss was asking more questions about his expense reports and project budgets. The auditing procedures were revealing discrepancies. Trevor was feeling pressure at work and he took it out on Simone. "You are never around anymore," he complained one evening. "Always on your laptop. Always busy." "I am working," Simone said calmly. "Just like you work. It is different. You are always distracted. Always somewhere else." The irony was rich. Trevor, who had been conducting an affair and stealing money for years, was accusing her of being distracted. "I will try to be more present," Simone said, knowing she only had to pretend for a few more days. Brittany called Trevor's phone that evening. Simone saw the name flash on the screen. Trevor grabbed the phone quickly and stepped outside to take the call. Simone used the opportunity to check his laptop, which he had left open. She found recent emails to Brittany discussing their plans to meet the following weekend while Simone was supposedly traveling for work. Except Simone was not traveling for work next weekend. She had canceled that trip. Trevor did not know because she had not told him. She had let him believe she would be gone so she could see what he would do. Now she knew. He had planned another rendezvous with Brittany. In their home. In their bed. While he thought Simone was working to support them. She took photos of the emails and sent them to Patricia. More evidence. More proof of Trevor's complete disregard for their marriage. Trevor came back inside, smiling from his conversation with Brittany. "I am thinking about playing golf this weekend," he said. "You will be traveling anyway, right?" "Right," Simone agreed. "I will be gone Friday through Sunday." "Perfect. I mean, that is too bad you have to work. But at least I can keep myself entertained." Simone smiled. "I am glad you have ways to keep busy." That night, Patricia sent a text message. "Everything is ready. We file on Monday. Are you prepared?" Simone looked at Trevor sleeping beside her, completely unaware that his world was about to crumble. She felt no guilt, no hesitation, no second thoughts. "I am ready," she texted back. Monday morning, everything would change. Trevor would learn that you cannot treat someone like a slave without consequences. He would learn that theft has penalties. He would learn that his actions had destroyed everything he claimed to value. And Simone would learn that she was far stronger than she had ever known. She was about to walk through fire, but she would come out the other side transformed. Stronger. Independent. Free. Trevor had taken so much from her. Her trust. Her money. Her sense of security in her own home. But he had also given her something unintentionally. He had given her clarity. He had shown her who he really was. And that knowledge, painful as it had been to acquire, was now her greatest weapon. Friday morning arrived cold and bright. Simone went through her normal routine, making breakfast while Trevor got ready for work. She had packed her bags the night before, maintaining the illusion of her business trip. "What time is your flight?" Trevor asked over coffee. 10:30, Simone lied smoothly. "I should leave for the airport soon. Have a safe trip. I will miss you." He kissed her cheek with the same affection he had shown before she discovered his betrayal. Simone smiled. "I will miss you too." After Trevor left for work, Simone loaded her actual belongings into her car. Not the business trip luggage she had shown Trevor, but boxes of her important possessions. Her personal documents. Her photographs. Items with sentimental value. Everything she wanted to keep safe and separate from what was coming. She drove to the storage unit she had rented under her business name. She unloaded everything carefully, organizing it in the climate-controlled space. This was her insurance policy. When Trevor came home to an empty house on Monday, these possessions would already be safe. Then she drove to the extended stay hotel where she had booked a room for the next 2 weeks. It was comfortable and private, a neutral space where she could think and plan without Trevor's presence. Patricia called at noon. "Everything is filed. The divorce papers will be served to Trevor at his workplace on Monday morning at 10 o'clock. We have coordinated with Detective Chen. Trevor's employer will be contacted simultaneously about the embezzlement evidence. It will all happen at once. What do I need to do?" "Stay at the hotel. Do not answer Trevor's calls until we talk on Monday afternoon. Let him process what is happening. He will be angry and he may try to manipulate you. Give yourself space from that. What about Brittany? He is expecting her at the house this weekend. Patricia made a sound that might have been a laugh. Let him entertain his mistress. It does not matter anymore. You will never set foot in that house as his wife again. Simone spent Friday afternoon working on her business launch. Harrison had secured meetings with 2 potential clients for the following week. She needed to prepare presentations and proposals. The work helped focus her mind on the future instead of dwelling on the past. That evening, she checked the home security cameras one last time. Trevor arrived home at 6. Brittany showed up an hour later with an overnight bag. They greeted each other with a long embrace at the door. The camera captured everything. Simone downloaded the video and sent it to Patricia. Then she deleted the security app from her phone. She did not need to watch anymore. She knew everything she needed to know. Saturday, she visited the bank and officially separated all her finances from Trevor's. Patricia had prepared the documentation showing the forged signatures and identity theft. The bank representatives were shocked and immediately sympathetic. They flagged all the fraudulent accounts and started the process of protecting Simone's credit. She opened new accounts in her name only. She transferred her salary direct deposit to the new account. She secured a business credit card for Crawford Consulting Solutions. She was building a completely separate financial life. Sunday, Harrison called with exciting news. I spoke to the CEO of Horizon Technologies. They are very interested in hiring you for a 6-month project management consulting contract. It is a large contract, Simone. 6 figures. They want to meet with you on Tuesday. Tuesday? Right after everything with Trevor happens? I can reschedule if you need me to. Simone thought about it. Walking into a major client meeting on the heels of filing for divorce seemed insane. But it also seemed perfect. She would be moving forward immediately. No time to wallow. No time to doubt. Just straight into building her new life. No. Keep the meeting. I will be there. Sunday evening, Patricia called. How are you holding up? I am ready, Simone said honestly. I was angry at first, then hurt. Now I just want it over so I can move on. That is the healthiest attitude. Remember, tomorrow is going to be hard. Trevor will likely try to contact you. He may say things designed to hurt or manipulate you. Do not engage. Let me handle all communication. I understand. One more thing. Detective Chin told me that Trevor's company has been conducting their own internal investigation for the past 2 weeks. They have found significant evidence of embezzlement. When they receive our report tomorrow morning, they will have everything they need to take immediate action. Trevor is going to face consequences from multiple directions at once. Simone felt a moment of something that might have been pity. Trevor's life was about to implode completely. His wife divorcing him. His company firing him and likely pressing charges. The police investigating him for fraud. His affair with Brittany exposed publicly. But then she remembered his words. You are a slave. She remembered the forged signatures. The stolen money. The calculated lies. The complete disregard for her well-being. The pity faded. Good, Simone said firmly. He deserves every bit of what is coming. That is right. He made his choices. Now he faces the consequences. You did nothing wrong. You protected yourself and exposed criminal activity. That is not revenge. That is justice. Monday morning arrived. Simone woke early in her hotel room, showered, dressed in professional clothing, and tried to eat breakfast though her stomach was churning. At 9:30, Patricia texted. Process server is on the way to Trevor's office. Detective Chin is contacting his employer. Everything is moving forward. At 10:15, Patricia called. It is done. Trevor has been served. His company has been informed. The process has begun. Simone sat on the hotel bed, waiting for her phone to ring. She had blocked Trevor's number following Patricia's advice, but she knew he would find ways to try to reach her. Sure enough, at 10:30, the hotel room phone rang. The front desk. Miss Crawford, there is a gentleman here asking for you. He says he is your husband and it is an emergency. Please tell him I am not available. If he does not leave, contact security. Trevor had left his office and driven straight to the hotel. Somehow he had figured out where she was. But she was not going to face him. Not now. Not ever again without legal representation present. Her cell phone, the one Trevor did not know the number for, rang. Patricia. Trevor's attorney just contacted me. Trevor is demanding to speak with you. I told him all communication goes through me. He is threatening to come to wherever you are staying. He is already here. I had the hotel turn him away. Good. Stay there. I am getting a temporary restraining order filed today. He is not to contact you or come within 500 feet of you. The order will be in place by this evening. What about the house? The locks have been changed. We filed an emergency order giving you exclusive possession of the marital home until the divorce is settled. He cannot enter. His possessions will be packed and made available for pickup at a neutral location. Simone felt breathless. It was really happening. Everything was moving so fast. Trevor's life was falling apart in real time, and she was the one who had set everything in motion. Patricia, am I doing the right thing? Simone, he committed fraud. He stole from you. He forged your signature. He put you at legal and financial risk. You are absolutely doing the right thing. You are protecting yourself. That is what strong, smart people do. Simone took a deep breath. Thank you. I will call you this evening with updates. For now, try to relax. Take care of yourself. The hard part is over. Now we just manage the process. But the hard part was not over. It was just beginning. Trevor's text messages started arriving within an hour, before Simone had blocked all possible numbers. They came from his work phone, then from numbers she did not recognize, then from what appeared to be Brittany's phone. How could you do this to me? You are destroying my life over nothing. I can explain everything if you would just talk to me. You are being manipulated by that lawyer. This is all a misunderstanding. Please, Simone, just let me explain. She deleted each message without responding, just as Patricia had instructed. But seeing the messages gave her insight into Trevor's mindset. He still did not understand the severity of what he had done. He still thought this was about the affair, about hurt feelings, about a misunderstanding he could talk his way out of. He did not realize yet that this was about fraud, about theft, about criminal actions that would have legal consequences regardless of whether Simone forgave him. Patricia called that afternoon with an update. Trevor's employer has suspended him pending investigation. They have frozen his access to company accounts and systems. They have assigned forensic accountants to review all his transactions for the past 3 years. He is going to be formally terminated by end of week, and they are preparing to file criminal charges. That fast. They take financial crimes very seriously, especially when it involves client funds. The evidence Jerome provided was damning. They cannot keep him employed while investigating him for embezzlement. What did he tell them? According to their HR representative, Trevor claimed it was all a mistake. That he had been moving money temporarily and always planned to return it. That his wife was lying about the forged signatures as part of a vindictive divorce. They did not believe him. Simone felt a cold satisfaction. Trevor was finally being held accountable. That evening, Patricia called again. The restraining order is in place. Trevor has been officially notified. He cannot contact you in any way. He cannot come near your residence or workplace. If he violates the order, he will be arrested. What about Brittany? Interesting development there. Once Brittany learned Trevor was being investigated for embezzlement and fraud, she suddenly became very cooperative with authorities. She is claiming she had no knowledge of his financial crimes. She is positioning herself as another victim of his manipulation. Is that true? Probably not entirely. But it is smart of her. She is protecting herself. The investigation into Trevor is not concerned with the affair. It is concerned with the money. So Brittany's involvement in the relationship is not really relevant unless she benefited financially from his crimes. She did. He bought her expensive gifts. Proving she knew those gifts were purchased with stolen money is difficult. She is likely to walk away from this legally unscathed, even if her reputation is damaged. Simone found she did not care much about Brittany anymore. Brittany was Trevor's problem, not hers. Let them deal with each other. Tuesday morning, Simone woke up energized despite the stress. Today was her meeting with Horizon Technologies. Today was the first step in building Crawford Consulting Solutions. She dressed in her best business suit. She reviewed her presentation materials. She practiced her pitch. She was not going to let Trevor's implosion distract her from this opportunity. The meeting was at Horizon Technologies headquarters downtown. Harrison met her in the lobby and walked her up to the conference room where 3 executives waited. For the next 2 hours, Simone presented her analysis of their project management needs and her proposed solutions. She showed them case studies from her previous work. She answered their questions with confidence and expertise. She negotiated contract terms and deliverables. By the end of the meeting, they were ready to sign. "We would like to begin with you as soon as possible," the CEO said. "Your approach is exactly what we need. The contract is yours if you want it." "I want it," Simone said firmly. They shook hands and agreed to finalize paperwork by end of week. Simone walked out of the building with her first major client secured. Crawford Consulting Solutions was officially in business. Harrison was thrilled. This is an incredible start. This contract alone will sustain you for months while you build additional client base. I have 2 more companies that want to meet with you next week. Simone felt something unfamiliar. Pride. Excitement. Hope. She was building something real. Something that belonged entirely to her. Something Trevor could never touch or taint or steal. Wednesday brought more developments. Detective Chen called to inform her that the district attorney's office was formally pursuing charges against Trevor. Multiple counts of identity theft, fraud, and forgery related to the loan applications. The investigation into the embezzlement was ongoing, but they expected additional charges. What does this mean? Simone asked. It means your husband is likely going to prison, Detective Chen said bluntly. The evidence is overwhelming. His best option at this point is to accept a plea deal, but even with that, he is looking at several years minimum. Prison. The word hung in the air. Trevor, who had been so confident, so careless, so sure he would never face consequences, was going to prison. Simone thanked Detective Chen and ended the call. She sat in her hotel room trying to process how completely Trevor's life had collapsed in just 3 days. Monday morning he had been employed, married, and conducting an affair with apparent impunity. By Wednesday afternoon he was unemployed, being divorced, facing criminal charges, and looking at prison time. Patricia called that evening. Trevor's attorney contacted me. Trevor wants to negotiate the divorce terms. He is willing to give you everything you are asking for if you will drop the criminal complaints. Can I do that? No. The criminal complaints are with the district attorney now. You do not control them. Even if you wanted to drop them, which I strongly advise against, you could not. The state is pursuing justice regardless of your wishes. Good. There is more. Trevor's attorney says Trevor is claiming he did everything because he was depressed about the marriage and made terrible choices. He is asking for your understanding and compassion. Simone laughed bitterly. He wants my compassion? After calling me a slave? After stealing from me? After forging my signature? After putting my financial future at risk? I told his attorney you were not interested in his excuses. But I wanted you to hear what he is trying to claim. He is attempting to rewrite history, to make himself the victim. He is not the victim. He is the criminal. Exactly. Which is why we are not negotiating. We are proceeding with the divorce on our terms. He will give you everything you are entitled to, and he will face every legal consequence he deserves. Thursday, Simone met with 2 more potential clients. Both meetings went well. Both companies expressed strong interest in her consulting services. She was building a pipeline of work that would sustain her business through the coming months. Friday afternoon, Patricia called with significant news. Trevor has been formally terminated from his position. His employer is filing charges for embezzlement. They have calculated that he stole over $200,000 from client accounts over a 3-year period. This is in addition to the charges related to identity theft and the forged loan signatures. $200,000? Yes. He was moving client money into temporary holding accounts, then skimming small amounts from each transaction. It added up significantly over time. Very sophisticated, very deliberate. This was not a mistake or a moment of poor judgment. This was calculated, ongoing theft. Simone felt sick. Trevor had been committing serious crimes while she slept beside him every night, while she worked to support their household, while she believed they were building a future together. What happens now? Now we wait for the legal process. The divorce will proceed separately from the criminal cases. You are completely protected financially. We have established that you had no knowledge of his crimes. Your assets are separate. Your credit is protected. You are free to move forward with your life. When can I move back into the house? Whenever you want. We have changed the locks. We have removed Trevor's belongings. The house is legally yours until the divorce is finalized, at which point you will have the option to buy him out or sell it and split the proceeds. That evening, Simone drove to her house for the first time since everything began. She stood in the driveway looking at the home she had shared with Trevor for 6 years. It looked different now. Not like a home. Just like a building. A structure filled with memories she no longer wanted. She unlocked the door with her new key and stepped inside. The house was quiet and empty. Trevor's belongings were gone, packed and removed by a company Patricia had hired. What remained was furniture and shared household items. Nothing that felt specifically Trevor's. Simone walked through each room slowly. The living room where she had found Brittany. The kitchen where Trevor had dismissed her concerns. The bedroom where she had slept beside a man who was lying to her about everything. She felt nothing for this place. No attachment. No nostalgia. Just a vague distaste and a strong desire to be somewhere else. She called Patricia. I want to sell the house. I do not want to live here anymore. That is completely understandable. We can put it on the market immediately if you want. Do it. I will stay at the hotel until it sells, then find a new place. Somewhere that is just mine. Somewhere Trevor has never been. I think that is a wise decision. A fresh start in every way. Simone locked the door and drove back to the hotel. She did not look back at the house. That chapter of her life was over. Everything that mattered now was ahead of her. 3 weeks after Trevor was served with divorce papers, Simone signed the contract for her second major client. A healthcare system needed comprehensive project management support for their digital transformation initiative. The contract was for 9 months and worth more than her previous annual salary. Crawford Consulting Solutions now had 2 major clients, 3 smaller contracts in negotiation, and a waiting list of companies wanting consultation meetings. Harrison was amazed at how quickly she was building her business. Most consultants struggle for months to get their first client, he said over coffee one morning. You have signed 2 major contracts in 3 weeks. This is extraordinary. I have good credentials and you made excellent introductions, Simone said modestly. It is more than that. You are driven in a way most people are not. Whatever is motivating you, it is working. What was motivating her was simple. She was building something that could never be taken away. Something Trevor could not touch, could not steal, could not taint. She was proving to herself that she did not need him, that she had never needed him, that she was capable of success completely on her own terms. She hired her first employee, an administrative assistant named Jennifer who helped manage schedules, contracts, and communications. She rented office space in a downtown building with views of the city. She ordered business cards and professional stationery. Crawford Consulting Solutions became real, solid, official. Meanwhile, Trevor's life continued its downward spiral. Patricia kept Simone updated on the legal proceedings. Trevor had been arraigned on multiple charges of fraud, identity theft, and embezzlement. His bail was set high enough that he could not afford it. He was staying with a friend while awaiting trial. His attorney was pushing for a plea deal. The evidence against him was too strong to fight. The district attorney was offering a deal that would result in 5 years in prison, full restitution to all victims, and permanent criminal record. Trevor has not decided whether to accept yet, Patricia informed Simone. He is still hoping for a better outcome. But there is not a better outcome available. The evidence is overwhelming. What about the divorce? Moving forward smoothly. Trevor is cooperating because he has no choice. You will receive full compensation for the money he stole from your joint accounts. You will be released from any liability for the fraudulent loans. The house sale will proceed and you will receive your full share of equity. You are going to come out of this financially whole. Financially whole but emotionally transformed. Simone barely recognized the woman she had been 6 weeks ago. The woman who had trusted blindly. Who had believed Trevor when he said he was working late. Who had never questioned the financial statements or looked closely at their accounts. That woman was gone. The new Simone was alert, skeptical, independent, and fierce. She trusted her own judgment above all else. She verified everything. She protected herself automatically. She was also happier than she had been in years. Working 18-hour days building her business, she felt energized rather than exhausted. Every client meeting, every contract signed, every small victory felt like proof that she had made the right choice. That leaving Trevor was not just necessary but liberating. 2 months after filing for divorce, Simone received an unexpected call from Brittany. I know I am probably the last person you want to hear from, Brittany said. But I wanted to say I am sorry. Simone was silent for a moment. Why are you calling? Because I feel terrible about what happened. I knew Trevor was married. I knew what we were doing was wrong. But I did not know about the financial crimes. I did not know he was stealing from you. I thought he was just an unhappy married man looking for something on the side. So you are calling to absolve yourself of guilt? No. I am calling because you deserve an apology. I hurt you. I participated in something that caused you pain. That was wrong regardless of what Trevor was doing with money. Simone appreciated the apology more than she expected to. Thank you for saying that. For what it is worth, Trevor lied to me too. He told me you two were separated. That the divorce was just paperwork. That you were focused on your career and did not care about the marriage anymore. I believed him because I wanted to believe him. He is very good at lying, Simone agreed. I know that now. I have not spoken to him since I found out about the criminal charges. I want nothing to do with him. I just wanted you to know that I am sorry for my part in hurting you." They talked for a few more minutes. Brittany explained she was moving to a different city, starting over, trying to rebuild her own reputation. She sounded genuinely remorseful. After the call ended, Simone felt a sense of closure she had not expected. Brittany was not her enemy. Trevor was the one who had made promises to Simone. Trevor was the one who had betrayed their marriage. Brittany was just another person Trevor had manipulated and used. Simone did not forgive Brittany for the affair, but she did release the anger she had been holding. Brittany was gone from her life. Trevor was gone from her life. She did not need to carry anger about them anymore. 3 months after filing for divorce, the house sold for above asking price. Simone received her share of the equity, which she immediately invested in expanding her business. She hired 2 more employees, both experienced project managers who could take on some of the growing workload. She found a beautiful apartment in a newly renovated building downtown. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Modern kitchen. Spacious office. It was hers. Every piece of furniture she selected. Every decoration she chose. Every decision she made. No compromise. No negotiation. Just her taste and her choices. Moving into the apartment felt like the final step in leaving Trevor behind. This space had never been his. He had never walked these floors or touched these walls. This was entirely hers. 4 months after filing for divorce, Trevor accepted the plea deal. He pled guilty to all charges in exchange for a reduced sentence. 5 years in prison. Full restitution. Permanent criminal record. His attorney issued a statement saying Trevor took full responsibility for his actions and was committed to making amends. Patricia called with the news. "It is over. You will be sentenced next month. The divorce will be finalized shortly after. You are almost free." Almost free. Simone liked the sound of that. She attended the sentencing hearing, sitting in the back of the courtroom. Trevor stood before the judge looking nothing like the confident man she had married. He was thin, tired, defeated. When the judge asked if he wanted to make a statement, Trevor said he was sorry, that he had made terrible mistakes, that he took full responsibility. He did not look at Simone once during the entire proceeding. The judge sentenced him to 5 years as agreed. Trevor was taken into custody immediately. He would serve at least 4 years before being eligible for parole. Simone walked out of the courtroom feeling lighter. It was really over. Trevor was gone. He would be in prison while she built her empire. He would be paying restitution while she was earning more money than they had ever made together. He would be living with the consequences of his choices while she was living in freedom. Justice had been served. Not through violence or revenge. Just through holding someone accountable for their actions. The system had worked exactly as it should. The news of Trevor's sentencing made the local business press. Former corporate manager sentenced to 5 years for embezzlement and fraud. The article detailed his crimes, the amount he had stolen, the forged signatures. It mentioned his divorce and the fact that his ex-wife had been the one to discover and report his crimes. Simone read the article once and then moved on. Trevor's downfall was complete, but it was not her focus anymore. She had more important things to think about. Like the 3 new client contracts she was negotiating. Like the business expansion plans she was developing. Like the industry conference where she had been invited to speak. Crawford Consulting Solutions was thriving. In 6 months, she had grown from nothing to a legitimate consulting firm with steady revenue and a strong reputation. Companies sought her out specifically because of her expertise and her growing fame in project management circles. Harrison continued to be amazed. "You have built in 6 months what takes most consultants 3 years to achieve. The growth trajectory is remarkable." "I am motivated," Simone said simply. The apartment she had thought would feel huge now felt almost too small. She was constantly working, constantly moving, constantly building. She hired a 4th employee, then a 5th. She was creating jobs, creating opportunity, creating something that mattered. She reconnected with old friends she had neglected during her marriage with Trevor. She realized Trevor had slowly isolated her without her noticing, making her world smaller, keeping her focused on their home and their relationship. She had lost touch with people who mattered. Now she was rebuilding those connections. She went to dinner with college friends. She attended networking events. She said yes to invitations she would have declined before. She was building a community, a support system, a life that was rich and full and entirely her own. Meanwhile, updates about Trevor came occasionally from Patricia. He was in prison. He was quiet and subdued. He had been moved to a medium security facility after a few months of evaluation. His parents had visited him once. His friends had mostly disappeared. Brittany had moved across the country and was engaged to someone new. She had effectively erased her connection to Trevor and moved on with her life. Trevor's employer had recovered most of the embezzled money through asset seizures and restitution orders. They had updated their financial controls and auditing procedures to prevent future embezzlement. They were using Trevor's case as a cautionary tale in their ethics training. The company Trevor had nearly destroyed with his greed was stronger now. They had learned from his crimes and improved their systems. Even his victims had moved forward and recovered. Simone's divorce was finalized 8 months after filing. She received her share of the marital assets, compensation for Trevor's theft, and complete freedom from any of his debts or legal problems. She was officially single, officially free, officially ready to move forward without any connection to Trevor. She celebrated by taking her employees out for a team dinner. These people had helped her build something real. They deserved to be acknowledged and appreciated. To Crawford Consulting, Jennifer toasted. The fastest growing consulting firm in the city. To all of you, Simone responded, for believing in this company and helping make it successful. They ate and laughed and talked about future plans. Simone looked around the table at these people who worked with her and realized she had built not just a business but a team, a family of choice, people who respected her and valued her and showed up every day ready to work hard together. This was so much better than what she had lost. This was authentic. This was earned. This was hers. That night, lying in her beautiful apartment, Simone reflected on the journey from that terrible confrontation with Trevor to this moment of peace and success. 8 months ago, she had been humiliated, betrayed, and scared. Now she was confident, successful, and free. The path had not been easy. There had been moments of doubt and fear. There had been days when she questioned whether she had done the right thing. There had been nights when she wondered if she was strong enough to rebuild. But she had done it. She had left a man who treated her like a slave. She had exposed his crimes. She had protected herself legally and financially. She had built a successful business from nothing. She had created a life that was entirely her own. And the best part was, this was just the beginning. Crawford Consulting Solutions was still growing. Her reputation was still building. Her future was still expanding with possibility. Trevor was in prison for the next several years. When he got out, he would have a criminal record, destroyed credit, and ruined reputation. He would struggle to find employment. He would spend years paying restitution. He would live with the consequences of his choices for the rest of his life. Simone was building an empire. 1 year after discovering Trevor's betrayal, Simone stood in front of 300 people at an industry conference giving a keynote speech about project management excellence. She wore a sharp business suit and spoke with confidence about leadership, strategy, and building effective teams. The audience was engaged and responsive. When she finished, they gave her a standing ovation. Multiple people approached her afterward wanting to discuss potential consulting contracts. She exchanged business cards and scheduled follow-up meetings. Crawford Consulting Solutions now had 15 employees and was handling projects for a dozen major clients. Revenue had exceeded her wildest projections. She had been featured in 3 business magazines as an emerging leader in consulting services. She had been invited to join the board of directors for 2 nonprofit organizations focused on business development and women's entrepreneurship. She had purchased a penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the entire city. She had filled it with furniture she loved, art that spoke to her, and technology that made her work easier. She had a home office that was more sophisticated than most corporate headquarters. She had a guest room for friends who visited. She had created exactly the space she wanted. She traveled regularly for business. She spoke at conferences in different cities. She met with clients across the country. She had become someone companies sought out specifically for her expertise and vision. She had also reconnected fully with herself. She took yoga classes. She tried painting. She went hiking on weekends. She said yes to adventures she would have declined before. She was living fully, completely, without apology. Patricia called one afternoon. "I have news about Trevor. I thought everything was finalized. Legally, yes. But I thought you would want to know that he wrote you a letter. The prison forwarded it to my office. I can send it to you or I can destroy it unread. Your choice." Simone considered. Did she want to know what Trevor had to say after a year in prison? Did she want his words in her mind after she had worked so hard to remove him from her life? "What does it say?" "I have not read it. It is sealed and addressed to you. Send it to me. I will decide whether to open it." The letter arrived 2 days later. Simone looked at Trevor's handwriting on the envelope. She set it on her desk and left it there for a week, unopened. She was not sure she wanted to read it. Finally, one quiet evening she opened it. The letter was 5 pages long. Trevor wrote about his time in prison. About therapy he was required to attend. About realizing how badly he had treated her. About understanding finally what he had destroyed. He apologized. He took responsibility. He said he hoped she was happy and successful. He said she deserved all the good things life could offer. He said he was genuinely sorry for every moment of pain he had caused. He did not ask for forgiveness. He did not ask her to wait for him or to consider reconciliation. He simply apologized and wished her well. Simone read the letter twice and then filed it away. She appreciated the apology. She believed Trevor was genuinely remorseful. Prison had clearly forced him to confront his actions in a way he had never done before. But the apology did not change anything. She had no desire to reconnect with him. She had no interest in knowing how he was doing or what he was thinking. His remorse was his to carry. She had moved far beyond caring about his emotional journey. She was glad he was getting help. She hoped he would become a better person. But that was not her concern anymore. She had her own life to live. Jerome called that month with interesting news. Trevor's restitution payments have started. He has been assigned prison work and his wages are being garnished to pay back what he stole. You will receive quarterly payments until the full amount is repaid. How long will that take? At current rates? About 15 years. Maybe longer. Prison wages are not high. 15 years of quarterly reminders that Trevor had stolen from her. 15 years of small payments trickling in. Simone did not need the money anymore. Her business generated more in a month than Trevor's restitution would pay in a year. Donate it, she told Jerome. Set up a fund for victims of financial fraud. Let the money do some good instead of just sitting in my account. Jerome was surprised. That is very generous. It is not about generosity. It is about not letting Trevor's actions define my finances anymore. I do not want his money. I want his restitution payments to help other people who have been hurt the way I was hurt. The fund was established. Trevor's restitution payments would go directly to helping other fraud victims. Simone felt good about that decision. It transformed something negative into something positive. 18 months after leaving Trevor, Simone attended a business gala where she was being honored as one of the city's emerging business leaders. She wore a stunning dress and felt beautiful and confident and proud. At the gala, she was introduced to Brandon Hayes, founder of a successful tech startup. Brandon was intelligent, charming, and genuinely interested in her business philosophy and approach. They talked for an hour about entrepreneurship, challenges, successes, and lessons learned. I would love to continue this conversation, Brandon said. Maybe over dinner sometime? Simone felt a flutter of interest. She had not been on a date since leaving Trevor. She had been focused entirely on building her business and healing from the betrayal. But Brandon seemed kind and respectful and genuinely interesting. I would like that, she said. They exchanged numbers. Brandon texted her the next day suggesting a restaurant. Simone agreed. It felt strange and exciting and a little scary to consider dating again. But she was ready. She was healed. She was strong enough to let someone new into her life. The date went well. Brandon was everything he had seemed at the gala. Smart, successful, respectful, and genuinely interested in getting to know her. He asked questions about her business and listened to her answers. He shared stories about his own entrepreneurial journey. He treated her like an equal and a partner in conversation. They went on a second date. Then a third. Simone was careful not to rush anything. She was protecting her heart while staying open to possibility. Brandon respected her pace and never pushed for more than she was ready to give. I admire what you have built, Brandon told her one evening over dinner. Starting a consulting firm from scratch and growing it this fast is remarkable. You should be incredibly proud. I am, Simone said honestly. This business represents everything I am capable of when I believe in myself and work hard. It is the best thing I have ever done. What motivated you to start it? Brandon asked. Simone considered how much to share. I was going through a difficult divorce. I needed to prove to myself that I could be successful on my own. That I did not need anyone else to be happy or accomplished or secure. I needed to build something that belonged entirely to me. It sounds like the divorce was challenging. It was. But it was also the best thing that could have happened to me. It forced me to discover who I really am and what I am capable of. I am a better person now than I was before. Brandon nodded. Sometimes the hardest experiences teach us the most important lessons. They continued dating slowly, carefully, building trust and connection without rushing. Simone appreciated Brandon's patience and respect. She was learning that healthy relationships existed. That men could be honest and supportive and trustworthy. That she could open her heart again without losing herself. 2 years after leaving Trevor, Simone stood in her penthouse looking out at the city lights below. Crawford Consulting Solutions now had 30 employees and had expanded to 3 cities. She was bringing in 7-figure revenue annually. She was sought after as a speaker and consultant across the country. She had built something extraordinary from the ashes of her worst moment. She had also built a life she loved. She had friends who valued her. She had a business she was proud of. She had a relationship with Brandon that was healthy and respectful and full of possibility. She had freedom, independence, and joy. Trevor was serving his sentence in prison. He had 3 more years before parole eligibility. His life was small and constrained and defined by his past mistakes. He would carry the consequences of his actions forever. Simone's life was expansive and growing and defined by her successes. She had turned betrayal into motivation. She had transformed pain into power. She had rebuilt herself into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than she had ever been before. This was what triumph looked like. Not revenge. Not destruction of the person who hurt her. Just building something so successful, so beautiful, so completely hers that his actions became irrelevant. His betrayal had become the catalyst for her greatest achievements. She was free in every sense of the word. Free from Trevor. Free from doubt. Free from fear. Free to build whatever future she wanted. And that future was bright and full of possibility. The morning of Crawford Consulting Solutions' 2nd anniversary celebration dawned bright and clear. Simone woke in her penthouse, light streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows, and felt profound gratitude for everything she had built. 2 years ago, she had been discovering her husband's betrayal and planning her escape from a marriage built on lies. Now she was celebrating a thriving business and a life that exceeded every dream she had held. The celebration was planned for that evening. All 30 employees were invited, along with key clients, business partners, and friends who had supported Simone through the journey. The event would be held at an elegant venue downtown with catering, music, and speeches. Jennifer had planned everything perfectly. "This is going to be amazing," she said during their morning meeting. "Everyone is excited to celebrate what we have built together." "I could not have done any of this without all of you," Simone said honestly. "This company succeeds because we have an incredible team." She spent the day reviewing the business metrics. Crawford Consulting Solutions had completed 40 major projects in 2 years. Client satisfaction ratings were consistently above 95%. Revenue had grown by 300% year over year. They had expanded to offices in 3 cities and were considering opening a 4th location. Simone had also been invited to serve on the boards of 2 corporate clients and 3 nonprofit organizations. She was building influence and reputation far beyond her consulting business. She was becoming a recognized leader in business strategy and organizational development. That afternoon, Patricia called. "I wanted you to know that Trevor's parole hearing is scheduled for next month. He is eligible for early release after serving 3 years. Simone felt nothing at the news. Trevor's parole status did not affect her life at all. What happens if he gets paroled? He serves the rest of his sentence on supervised release. He has to check in regularly with a parole officer. He cannot leave the state without permission. He has to maintain employment and continue making restitution payments. He essentially remains under state supervision until his full sentence is complete. Will he try to contact me? The restraining order remains in effect. He is legally prohibited from contacting you in any way. If he violates that order, he goes back to prison immediately." "Good. How do you feel about him potentially being released?" Simone considered the question honestly. "I do not feel anything. He is not part of my life anymore. He has not been for 2 years. Whether he is in prison or out on parole does not affect me at all. I hope he has learned from his mistakes. I hope he becomes a better person. But I do not care to know about his life or have any connection to him." "That is the healthiest possible response," Patricia said. "You have truly moved on." That evening, Simone stood before her assembled employees, clients, and friends at the celebration. She looked around the room at all the people who had supported Crawford Consulting Solutions and felt overwhelmed with appreciation. 2 years ago, I was at the lowest point of my life," she began. "I was discovering betrayal and facing the collapse of everything I thought I knew. I had a choice. I could let that betrayal define me and destroy me, or I could use it as motivation to build something better." She paused, making eye contact with people around the room. "I chose to build. I chose to take control of my life and create something that belonged entirely to me. But I did not do it alone. Every person in this room contributed to what Crawford Consulting Solutions has become. Every employee who shows up every day ready to work hard. Every client who trusted us with their most important projects. Every friend who believed in me when I was not sure I believed in myself. She raised her glass. This is not my success. This is our success. This is what happens when talented people work together toward a common goal. Thank you all for being part of this journey. Here is to the next 2 years being even more remarkable than the last 2. Everyone raised their glasses and cheered. The celebration continued with dinner, speeches from several employees about their favorite projects, and dancing. Simone moved through the crowd, thanking people individually, hearing their stories, celebrating their contributions. Brandon arrived later in the evening, having come straight from his own business meeting. He found Simone and pulled her aside. This is incredible. You should be so proud. I am. This represents everything I dreamed of building. Can I tell you something? Brandon asked, taking her hand. Watching you build this company over the past year has been inspiring. Your determination, your vision, your leadership. You are remarkable. Simone felt warmth spread through her chest. Not just from Brandon's words, but from the truth in them. She was remarkable. She had proven that to herself and to everyone who had ever doubted her. Thank you, she said. That means a lot coming from you. They rejoined the celebration and danced together. Simone looked around the room, seeing happy faces and hearing laughter. This was what she had built. Not just a business but a community. Not just success but joy. Later that night, back in her penthouse, Simone stood at the windows looking out at the city. Brandon had gone home after walking her to her door, respecting her need for space and time. She appreciated his patience and his understanding that she valued her independence.